Maker's Mark Distillery has been a hallmark of consistency since its beginning, and that has made it very difficult for them to release limited edition bottlings because they rotate their barrels and everything pretty much tastes the same until now. They have the Cellar aged. It's priced at $139.99. But is it worth it? If you want to find out, then stick around. All right, Aaron, before we get started, we have to thank our show sponsor,
Goody Goody Liquor.
Goody Goody Liquor. Goody Goody is your Texas-based neighborhood liquor store that has all your beverage needs covered. They have all your favorite everyday whiskey, single barrels, and occasional allocated item, plus thousands more items for you to discover. They have an enormous selection of spirits outside of bourbon, wine from all over the world at all price points, beer for every palate, and the ingredients for any cocktail. You can pick up your favorites or use their knowledgeable staff to pick something up that you haven't had before. Goody Goody has many convenient locations, and their size allows them to pass savings on to you. On average, when you shop at Goody Goody, you pay less. Ask about becoming a Bottle Club member for exclusive access to allocated items and discounts on your everyday purchases. You can visit goodygoody.com to find a store or order online today. All right.
Enormous selection.
They do have an enormous selection. It was the largest liquor store I had ever been in until I started going to some of the large chains.
Going by the house, by my house,
is
again when it, gosh, it's probably 2003 or 4 when that thing got built, but huge.
Yeah. So Maker's Mark rotates their barrels inside the barrel warehouse. Okay, and this is a super expensive process because you can't fill the warehouse up. You have to have space to move stuff around, right? So you have to have extra warehouses. Takes tons of labor because the barrels are around 600 pounds and you got to move them all over the place. And the whole idea is you don't want the barrel to spend its whole life up high. Right. You don't want it to spend its whole life down low. Otherwise, you're going to end up with inconsistent flavor.
It's like stirring the oatmeal in the microwave.
Very much like making a consistent heat by heat constantly stirring it. That is the whole idea. As a result, they've never been able to do limited editions because all their barrels taste the same.
Right.
And the goal was to get it to taste to a certain profile. So all the barrels are aged 4 to 7 years. They really don't have any high age barrels. And that's why they created the Private Select program. Because they knew they needed some sort of a single barrel like program, but they couldn't do it with the regular barrels because they all taste the same. And so they created this stave aging process where you get to pick 10 different staves and make something, unique. And they've been doing that for years. But I think after watching all the other distilleries do these special releases and how great it was to help build awareness for the brand, they said, screw it, we're jumping in feet first. And this limited edition is 11 and 12-year-old barrels, which is significant.
So is this going to be like an annual thing, do you know?
I don't know. I think that they're going to keep doing this.
I usually don't think like makers when I'm thinking about annual bourbon hunting.
Exactly, but they're trying to change that now.
Okay.
Yeah. So the distillery's Maker's Mark SKU is Cellar aged. It is aged, 13% of the barrels were aged for 11 years and 87% were aged for 12 years. The proof is 115.7. The SRP is $139.99. The size is 750 ml. And what do you say we taste this bad boy? Yes. It was so good that when he was talking, I took a sip before we got into it. Yeah, it is. So
I'm not usually a huge Maker's fan. Not that I don't like it. It's just not one that I'm. It's not on the radar. Yeah. I picked up the barrel entry proof earlier this year. Good. Glad I got it. But it wasn't anything that I was, feeling the right home about. So we'll see how the nose on this is stellar.
Nose is stellar. Tons of vanilla.
It smells like a cellar.
There's a little bit of it's not smoky, but if you've ever been cutting oak on a table saw and it started to bind, and that smoke comes off, and it's a sweeter oak smoke. There's a little bit of that on here, but nothing crazy. It's not a really smoky smelling whiskey.
No, but you get I think sawdusty is the way that.
Yeah.
That's like a well, I don't know that a cellar has sawdust in it, but
yeah,
either way.
Well, it depends on if they drill their barrels to get their barrel samples or if they pull the bunks.
Huh.
So on the palate, I'm getting some fruit notes. Maker's Mark is the one that I have a hard time pinpointing the fruit. This one I would say is more in the direction of a cherry.
So I like the palate. I like the finish. It's the nose now that I'm getting more familiar with it. I don't want to say it's throwing me off, but it is. It's that sawdusty kind of, it's like I like it, but then at the same time, I feel like it is maybe green salt, like fresh sawdust. I don't know.
Yeah, I got a hint of that sawdust when I first nosed it, and now that I've got it on my palate, I'm tasting like a really light milk chocolate.
So on the palate, I do get it's very light to me.
It's not like a bitter dark chocolate.
No,
it's like,
no. And
it's
I do get
like
that.
a light.
And I'm having a hard time picking up a fruit note on it too.
It is lovely.
It's very delicate. It's I get like a caramel chocolate.
Okay.
I don't get a lot of fruit on it though.
That's fair, but it's on the sweeter side.
It's probably the best makers. It's not the sweetest makers I've ever had, but it's definitely probably one of the best makers I've ever had.
Yeah. So how would you rate this on a 100-point scale?
87.
Okay, I'm going 90 on this.
90.
Yeah, I think they're in A territory on this.
Yes,
Yeah.
for their brand.
For their brand,
absolutely.
yeah. Is it a buy or a pass at 139?
Buy all day.
I am a buy on this as well. I did buy this bottle, and I'm very happy with it.
I'd probably go a little higher than that. I wouldn't go what I've been seeing on secondary for it.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
But,
This was one that I heard some bad press about it, and my buddy Alex Batista had one. He crafted it. We had a meeting. As soon as I tasted it, I was like, what are people talking about? Like, this is definitely the best Maker's Mark bourbon that they have ever released. Right? Now, granted, I love the barrel stay finish profiles that they create. To me, those are more like dessert whiskey. I don't put those in the same category with regular straight bourbons. In terms of straight bourbon, this is the best thing I've ever tasted from Maker's Mark.
It's very good. The palate is supersedes the nose for me. I have something about the nose. I don't know what it is.
All right. So what do you say we give some whiskey away?
Let's do it.
All right. So what we're doing here is I did a Maker's Mark Private Select a few years ago.
I love these.
It is delicious. Tons of vanilla and chocolate notes in this. I had an extra bottle. We actually were able to get the symbol of our whiskey club in the wax. And we released it on Valentine's Day. So we have Choose You. Yeah, so we made this a Valentine's Day release with the little kitty Valentine type tater sticker. But we are going to be giving this away with a 1-ounce sample of the Cellar aged. And so what you are able to win is this full bottle of a Maker's Mark Private Select that I personally blended, and a 1-ounce sample of the Cellar aged. And all you have to do to win is like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, comment below, and go to that video description, click the link, and fill in your contact information. And if you win the randomizer, I will reach out to you to get your contact information so that I can ship you your bottle and your sample. And you can support the channel if you like this content just by subscribing. But there's other ways to support. You could look into Patreon. We have Bourbon Real Talk Plus. Lots of great member benefits there. Discounts on merch, distillery takeovers, single barrel selections, virtual meetups online where we get together online and have a pour. I do meetups all over the country as I travel for Prideful Goat. You can also support us with merchandise purchases on bourbonrealtalk.com. Aaron and I are also in real estate. I am a residential real estate agent, and I do business in the Dallas and Houston metro areas, where if you decide to buy a house there and you call me, you're going to get an epic bottle as a closing gift. And Aaron, you are a lender.
I'm a lender, yeah.
And what states do you do loans in?
Texas, Oklahoma, Colorado, and Florida.
Okay. So if you need a home loan in any of those states, Texas, Colorado, Florida, or Oklahoma, or you need real estate services, all the links for everything we talked about are in the video description below. You can click on that. We hope that you enjoyed this content, and we will see you soon on Bourbon Real Talk. Cheers.
Cheers, man.